No, regrettably.
Not regrettably.
Working.
Yes, I was too busy to mess with the bracelets.
Doing this.
Can't escape it, what can I say?
You can't do it. Oh my gosh. Now this is a film that pretty much has all the trademarks of a teen flick, okay, minus the jelly bracelets. But it deals, with a lot of things teenagers go through.
Yes.
With a little twist. Why is this one different?
Well, this film is sort of sweetly subversive. It's smart. It has something to say. I think we're all really proud of the film, and it's going to hopefully create a dialogue between, teenagers. It has something to say. It's smart. I don't know.
It's creating a lot of dialogue, I think, even outside of the teenage realm, too.
Yeah.
And I think people take it seriously? Because I thought it was sort of a satire, right?
Well, it is a bit. But, I mean, I hope people take it for what it is. I mean, it's hard. You can't really tell audiences what to take away from a film. But, I mean, it's smart and it's funny, but it really, it's continuing a dialogue. There's people out there right now, because it's coming on the heels of The Passion, people are talking about their faith and what they believe in. And so this is going to just add to the commentary and keep people talking about it, but funny.
But when a
Always
girl with
funny.
wings quoting Jesus pushes a crippled guy, into the street, you better have a comedy going on. Otherwise, we're in trouble.
Well, I understand that you guys did some research for this before you started shooting the film, which is interesting. What did you do?
Well, Brian Daniely, the writer-director, first-time writer-director, he was really big into research. We had stacks and stacks of just things from conversations he was having with pastors over the internet and things like that. But one of the things we did was went to Christian rock concerts and youth rallies and things like that. I went to a big one at Edison Field in Anaheim, which is, 40,000 born-again Christians, which are all blonde, by the way. A sea of blonde. I'll fit right in. So, and it was amazing. I mean, it's like, you have all these kind of sound-alike Christian bands, like the U2 sound-alike Christian band. It's all very uplifting, and the pastor's up there quoting Pink and Madonna as much as the Bible. It was amazing, kind of just to see this world firsthand, because when I read the script, I was kind of aware that there was this kind of modern Christian movement, but to see it firsthand.
Quoting Madonna in a positive way?
Yes, in kind of this positive way. I mean, trying to connect it to people's faith. I mean,
She's very spiritual, so actually that's a good one to quote.
I'm interested enough that your character gets to be sort of an outcast of the players in the piece because he questions his faith.
Well, he sees the manipulative and ugly aspects of religion kind of coming out through his sister, and how people can justify their actions through their faith.
Yeah, are you guys aware that people are talking about this controversially? As if to suggest that all of the characters that's supposed to be saved are bad or sneaky or not truthful, when obviously that's not the truth.
I think the controversy and sort of the negativity surrounding the film is coming from people who haven't seen the movie and sort of are coming in with preconceived notions and ideas of what it's supposed to be like. And I think it's really hard for people to handle humor and religion sort of in the same sentence, because automatically they think that we have to be making fun of them, and we're not. The film is not mean-spirited. It's not mocking anyone. It's actually very sweet, and it has a very pro-faith, very pro-Christian message at the end of the day. So if people can sort of just get past that hump and go see the film, I think it's something very positive.
They're also going to see a very different Mandy Moore, because we're used to seeing you as the good girl, and you are definitely the bad girl.
I am.
I'm going to show another clip of you as the controlling Tiffany. Let's take a look.
You are making accusations as we're trying to save your soul. Mary, turn away from Satan. Jesus, he loves you. You don't know first thing about love. I am filled with Christ's love. God, you are just jealous of my success in the Lord. This is not a weapon, you idiot.
I got a church to take you to. Exactly. It's making fun of hypocrisy.
It's situational comedy.
Yes, but it's going to be fun to play the bad girl for a change.
It's so much fun. And the thing about Hilary Faye is she's trying so hard to be sort of this good person. She's overzealous, and it's kind of sad because her whole identity, the only way she sees herself is through Jesus and this personal relationship she has with him, and because of that, she really does sort of manipulate and take advantage of those around her, even her friends and her brother.
And her brother. Well, after 6 years, you came back in the film Party Monster after your hiatus. What made you take that break?
Oh, I just kind of all got really, really crazy after a while. I mean, it was just kind of, I'd been wanting to take a break for a long time, and no one was really listening. So when I was kind of in a position where I could walk away, I did. And it was I kind of washed my hands of it and just said, that's it, call it retirement, call it a break, call it whatever you want, because it's yours now. You can have it. I kind of want to go to school. I want to be me, basically. And then, you know, you finish out high school and you try to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life. And I was in this position because of what I did when I was 9 and 10 years old, that I didn't have to do anything. You know, I could sit around eating cereal and doing nothing, and, you know, my kids would go to college. But at the same time, that was almost more scary than anything else. I had to find out what I wanted to do with my life. And so, I just realized that, you know, this is something that I've been doing for a long time. It's something that came naturally to me. It's something that I didn't necessarily go out to find. It kind of oddly found me when I was like 4 years old. So it's something that I just figured I'd dip my toe in the water and see what happened, and see if there's some cool people out there who want to do interesting, one-of-a-kind kinds of movies. And so
Great thing.
It is a great thing. We're going to find more out about this when we come right back. Don't go anywhere because we've got lots more to talk about with Mandy Moore and Macaulay Culkin. We'll be right back.
And Macaulay Culkin. Actually, Mac, we were talking about Party Monster when we went into commercial. I hear it's difficult for you to put that character in the back pocket.
Well, we really tried to immerse ourselves into that kind of crazy world, and we were playing these real characters, so we really tried to get them down. And Seth and I had spent a lot of time detoxing, and it still hasn't worked its way out of the system.
I hear he slips out every now and then.
And the girlfriend hates it too, you know, because it's Michael. You know, oh, there's Michael Alec. You know, there he is running again around clubs and this and that. It's just like, oh my God, like, you know, it just makes some people around like me, you know, cringe. It's terrible.
You know, I was reading that Susan Sarandon had a quote that you thought was very apt. She said that acting is like masturbation. Do you relate to that? What does it mean?
Kind of, she said. No, you know, someone asked me, like, oh, you know, what's the difference between doing theater and film? And I said, well, when you do theater, it's like making love to a piece. You know, you get to tell the whole story in 2 hours, control over it. Whereas when you do film, it's closer to masturbation, considering you work for 5 minutes and then you have about 3 hours off, and then you work for 5 minutes again, and so it's very, you know. So that's what I like.
Mandy, you know, we've known you for a very long time here at The View. You're one of our favorite young women with the voice that we used to call you. Now, interestingly enough, you were grouped with the Britney Spears and the Christina Aguilera in terms of the new pop princesses back in the day. And they have, shall we say, revealed a lot more than you have in videos and all kinds of stuff like that. You've decided to use a different path.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just not comfortable in that sense, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that sort of style is necessarily fashionable. I'd much rather sort of be covered up. I don't know, maybe because I'm just not... They pull it off because they're obviously...
There was pressure to go that way.
I think there's always pressure, but I sort of feel like the close people that are around me, no one ever sort of press their opinions on me to dress a certain way or to sing songs a certain way or whatnot. But it's in the business. You show up at photo shoots and people know my style and know how I dress, but you still get like, you're like, it's so not me.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you. It's right.
I love that. Think about it. You both had hit mega stardom at a young age. Because you were 10 years old, and you had done 14 films in 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, that's outrageous. I mean, that's a large number. Because of that split with your dad, I mean, something that people would see as tragic. Is your relationship where it was? Is it
It's
progressing
basically
there?
where it was before, and kind of has to be that way. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's funny because people all the time, they're like, oh, you know, people have a different image of a father than I do. You know, people are like, oh, you know, don't you miss your father? I'm like, you don't understand. He wasn't the kind of guy who's going to take me to baseball games and things like that. He wasn't that guy, you know. And he was always the same way, even before we had money and before we were famous or anything like that. And that's the one thing I don't think people quite understand. So, you know.
So once in showbiz, it changed up?
No, it was always that way. And it was just, you know, it just finally got to a point where, you know, he was gone, and, you know, we were all kind of happy about that. And it's just kind of, it's unfortunately the way it has to be, but at the same time, it's just kind of the reality of the situation, and kind of, you know, kind of has to stay that way.
So do you regret that whole period where you were working so hard?
I don't regret anything. I'm happy with where I am. I get to do some cool things. I'm here talking about, you know, a great movie that I'm really, really proud of. And,
You're
you know,
very talented, very talented.
I think so.
You've also always been very
very, very candid about your relationships with your family and with friends, and that includes Michael Jackson, who's been a friend of yours for many years, and obviously is not going through a good time right now with all the accusations swirling around him regarding child abuse or child molestation. Are friends, and has that friendship been tested? Or?
We're still friends. It's just, it's it's an unfortunate situation, everything that's going on for everyone involved.
Yeah.
And so, I try to keep a distance from it a bit. We're still friendly. I haven't spoken to him in like 6 months or so, but at the same time, it's a bit of a circus, and if the same thing was happening to me, I wouldn't want to drag him into it, and vice versa. So it's kind of like I'm taking a step back and, like I said, kind of being supportive from afar, though.
Would you still be his friend?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing because, it's hard for me to speak out because, like, yeah, he's a good guy, but they're like, hey, weren't you 11 when you knew him? It's that kind of thing. So I'm put in this awkward position where I have to, talk about him. Yes, I mean, I'd still be his friend. I mean, it's all kind of weird because if he didn't mess around with me, what makes me think he'd mess around with anyone else? But that's just my opinion.
And Mandy, I mean, on another controversial front, I just read that Monica Lewinsky actually asked for you to play her in a film about her life. What are your thoughts on that?
What? I just don't. I don't quite understand it.
She wants you to do it because you're a pretty girl. You're a pretty girl.
I'm sort of a modest girl, and considering her story, I don't think I want to take that path in my career right now. So I tend to say that I'd stay away from that. But I'm flattered, I guess.
It might be a great part. You never know. It might be a terrific role.
Yeah, I guess never say never.
You certainly could stretch as an actor. Well, I tell you one thing, it is an interesting film. You guys are wonderful in it, and it's so great when independent films can get this kind of attention for great subject matter.
Yeah, it's
so
an
best
important
wishes. We keep our fingers crossed.
Thank you,
okay?
thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks to Mandy Moore and the Macaulay Culkin. Saved is in theaters right now, and we'll be right back with the lowdown on carbs. Huh?